Okay, so I built a couple of templates to hopefully help with some scoring and creating a little scoreboard because I'm finding as a teacher, especially with lots and lots of students, it's been really difficult during this remote learning time to give them good feedback and for them to see, what assignments they've turned in, how they did, and what they need to fix. So here's my basic template for a scoreboard. So, student ID number, their last name, first name, classroom teacher, grade level, whatever information that you need. But then here's where you're listing your assignments and you score based on what you need, or if it's just like a participation thing. And sometimes I often find that I like to have it more on my end so that whenever I upload grades, it's only the certain things that really need to be in there, kind of thing. So here's also a total points. So that's just taking the sum of all the data points that you need, so all your assignments. And if you use this little square on the over there, you can pull it down and just have the same thing, but just apply for the next row. So same thing kind of applies over here, but this is the average of all of those data points. And then for missing assignments, all I did is use a COUNTIF formula, and you go through the same kind of process. So you select your range, and then your criterion is 0 because they would have a 0, and so that would show up as a missing assignment. So this will count how many missing assignments they have. So say this actually wasn't turned in, now it'll update that and say that there are 2 missing assignments. So in any case, this is the first piece of building the scoreboard. So having that data ready to go. So first thing, and then what I do is I take this link here and I'm going to take it over to my real scoreboard. Now I've kind of created a little template for it already, and I'll kind of walk through what each of these mean, or what each of these pieces does. So when you're creating a scoreboard, you're going to have 2 sheets. One is going to be where students or anybody else is interacting, and then the other is your hidden data, and that's where everything is getting pulled from. So let's go over to the hidden data sheet, because I feel like that's the most important part, because otherwise your formulas are not going to work. And all we really need is a student ID number. So you'll put in a list of those, and then you need an the information for your import range formulas. So in column B here, and I'll make this a little wider, is your data sheet. So this is already set up, but I would go in and paste. So if I deleted those, paste that into each, or again, use this fun little button to drag it down however many you want, and it'll copy it down. Then you need to supply what range this is selecting. So for this information, I wanted everything that was in row 2, essentially. So I started at F2 and then went all the way to Z2. So just going through there, because that'll give me all the data points I need. So if you check out row 2 on my template, my scoreboard tracking sheet, it starts right here, and then it goes across. So it'll pick up everything that's in there and it'll reference. Then if you want to, you can have your first name, last name. I just think it's kind of cute. Don't really need it. So anyway, this sheet is going to be hidden, and I'll show you to do that at the end of this tutorial. If you already know, that's great. And then basically what you have is you want a spot where students can enter their ID number, and this whole sheet is going to be protected except for this one square, because you don't really want them fiddling with it. You just want them to be able to see their grades, their assignment, whatever it is that you're showing. So you type in their number, it will pull up that information. So here is how some of those formulas are working. So the very first ones, right up here, I've created some filters. So this filter, if I select equals filter, I'm going into my hidden data sheet. So it always labels the sheet first. So hidden data, it's referencing this sheet over here. Now it says that it's going first to look through the student ID number list. So that's where it's filtering from. Then your next is your first condition, and you only need one condition where it's in that same list, but you want to specifically pick out something that's the exact same as B2. That's this square that's that you're inputting your data into. So once that's created, it'll always pull up that ID number. And that is just kind of make sure that it's working. Okay, the next is the import range. Import range is so helpful. So what this does is, actually I'm going to come over here because I've set this up a little funny. Anyway, so you want the scores. Let's talk about that. So down over here, you may notice this looks a little odd. Now each of these I would just turn into white text so that it's hidden. It's not really there. It's protected already, but it's not necessary information for students or anybody else to see. So just leaving it there. So now I'm opening this up so that you can see what these are. So what I did, and this is mostly just make sure it works, because you could change these formulas to match what's on the hidden data sheet. But in any case, here's my scoreboard tractor, but you notice up here it actually is a filter. So I did the same kind of process as I did up here with the ID number to pull the website, the link that it's pulling from for the data tracker. So hidden data, but instead I'm filtering through the second column where whatever tracking sheet you have that linked to there. So you could have multiple classes, like say you have multiple data trackers, you know, on different spreadsheets or something. That could be a use for that. I tend to have them all on one and just use different sheets. In any case, so you have that linked there. So you're referencing that list first, then you reference where the student ID numbers are, and you want equals B4, that's this number right here, or you could link it to B2. Either way works. Then this one, I also have a filter, but instead it's set up for the third column that's right up here, because this is the second part of your import range formula. An import range formula, what that does is it allows you to take information from a different spreadsheet and bring it into another one. So you need a URL, in this case is right here, and you need where it is located on the sheet. So that's where I was talking about row 2. That's all that information that's right there, and that's how you state it. You share the name of the sheet, which is sheet 1, and then put an exclamation point, and then you use everything that's there. Anyway, so there's that. And then this was for my names, so you can look at those. So anyway, now that I've got those two things listed and they're just living on my spreadsheet here, I'm going to go then up here to my first square, wherever I want my assignments to show up. And I'm going to use an import range. Yay! So import range, and because I've already created this link right here, then I can just reference that. So import range, the first piece of information is the URL, so that's where I referenced A13 because that's where it's located on the spreadsheet. Then for the next piece where it needs the where it is on that spreadsheet that you're referencing, that's where I used A14, and I wanted it to use the exact text that's in A14. So in order to do that, you need to use an indirect formula and then state that A and 14, like that's true. That's exactly what you want in that formula. So once you've done that, it will fill in everything that's over here. So as an example, if I delete that, it's not going to show anything because it's not referencing anything. So say I want to use this number instead. Boom, there you go. So that's all happening right there. And so you can set up whatever assignments you want. I just found that that was pretty simple. And you could also set up some conditional formatting so that it looks good, or it points out, you know, you're missing assignments or the ones that are really good, that kind of thing. All right. So there we go. A little quick trip through Google Spreadsheets. Yay!